You're listening to the Major Pod Network, the only place where your favorite toy store, bar, arcade, and arena are all on the same block. Scratch that major itch.
Today on the Game Marks podcast, we play the sequel to ECW Hardcore Revolution, ECW Anarchy Rulz. Will this 2000s bloodbath hold up today? Will we play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
All this, plus gaming news, GMP64, and Clash at the Feast. Plug in, put on those nostalgia goggles, because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now.
And now, the Game Marks. Welcome to the Game Marks podcast presented by the Major Pod Network. I'm the man they call Johnny Clash.
And I am Mr. Anything is Feasible, and today we are playing ECW Anarchy Rulz, and we are joined by the man who coined the term Anything is Feasible, the Abominable. Are you still Abominable?
Nah, we're just CPA now.
You're just CPA
this is,
now.
Someone asked me today what I'm doing. This is like the big evil era of CPA, I think.
Ooh.
Which is the best one, obviously. So this could last forever, you know?
All right, cool.
And then one day I'll be really old and I'll have banger matches at Shawn Michaels. So.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Is Clash going to be your Shawn Michaels?
He sure is.
No. Anyway, as you just heard, we are joined by the official third host of the Game Marks podcast, CPA. And as always, we love to hear from you guys. So please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and make sure to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen. And join the conversation on all social media at Game Marks Pod. And now on Patreon at patreon.com/GameMarksPod. What's up, guys? How you doing? That's good. Good to have you back, Nick.
Good.
Was the last time we had you for actually ECW Hardcore Revolution?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, you've been a busy boy.
I'm an honorary ECW original, just based on the fact that I've wrestled or teamed up with most people who wrestled in ECW at some point.
Well, that's what we figured. We didn't want to bring Doring back and bore him with us again, so
no,
you were the next best thing.
That whiskey stream, though.
Danny Doring loves talking about ECW, so he would probably have done it tonight.
We're gonna have to revisit. Maybe we'll do both games with him. Just shoot some more shit with him.
I'll say we could shoot the shit. Maybe we'll CPA. Do you drink a whiskey?
I mean, if Danny Doring wants me to, I will, but usually I don't.
Okay. Okay, so maybe we'll do like a BYO. The three of us will.
He did for WWE games too, though, right?
Yes, he did. So we could figure out which ones he did. I believe they were the earlier ones.
Yeah, let's do one of those with them.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Or but you guys, whatever.
Hey,
No,
you'll be there.
You're gonna be here.
You were our caveat to getting him on board. So
I'm his roadkill now.
But last week we played Fire Pro Wrestling Iron Slam 96. George, I listened back to our episode. I watched Clash at the Feast, and as much as I wanted to like it, I can't like it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a spin on a game that we knew that we both liked, but it just okay. So CPA, you are familiar with Fire Pro Wrestling?
Yes, I'm familiar with that. I played my own.
Okay.
I played my character that other people have created for me. Yes.
Now imagine if Fire Pro Wrestling in 1996 suddenly went 3D and had the graphics of WCW versus the World.
That sounds interesting.
Right? It sounds great on the surface.
Appealing. But then it is slow, like really slow.
Yeah.
So it's WCW versus the World, but with like Thunder gameplay.
Kinda.
Thunder was pretty slow.
That's like scary accurate, and I kind of hate that analogy, but it works.
Yeah.
Thunder was slow as molasses. So yeah.
Yeah.
I got to remember to keep my cussing to a minimum because I don't want Clash to have to.
Nah, you're good. John will just beep that stuff. It's fine.
I'm gonna try to outdo myself tonight.
But John, why don't you tell everybody what we got going on this week for Patreon?
All right, today, Monday, if you're listening to this when this episode drops, we offer ad-free. Now, Tuesday, tomorrow, you will get the show notes, these beautiful notes that we are looking at right now that drive the show. And at 7 p.m., you will get GMP Game Over, the sister show to GMP 64. Now, on Wednesday, Future endeavored. Last week, George played King of the Ring for Game Boy. And this week, I am playing... it's back. WCW Super Brawl. And on Friday, Clash and Burn in audio and video format. Now, George, I played the NES King of the Ring. You played the Game Boy one. I think they're both pretty much identical for the most part. But what was your what was your experience like?
So I pretty much aligned with my original thought of
this game is shit.
I mean, I got to separate the nostalgia goggle factor because I had the game as a kid. It was like my portable console. I had it on the Game Boy, like the big gray VHS tape of a Game Boy that was. And, you know, I wanted to like it. I have very fond memories of it, but there's just something so simple and so bad about that game. Maybe the NES is a different experience, but my playthrough... When we did the episode, we played the NES and we dabbled in the Game Boy. Now, I just went straight Game Boy for Future Endeavored. So, you know, it was an experience. But Nick, you made a little noise. Did you also play the Game Boy King of the Ring or NES King of the Ring?
I actually never played that game, which is why I'm so curious about. I think I had a friend in like first or second grade who had it, but I never got to play it. So that's been like that and the Rage in the Cage Sega CD game are like my two holy grails of video games I've never actually gotten around to playing.
Funny thing, we can make both of those happen. So whenever you want,
we could set you up. Be ready to roll.
Also, with the Patreon this week, you'll get me. I wrote my will on a roll of toilet paper during Clash at the Feast because the match lasted 3 hours.
If you could actually send us that, I will post it in the Patreon group.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it just says, give all of my things to Top Shelf Troy Nelson.
Oh, you don't want to do that. George, take us through the streamer spotlight for this month.
All right, so the streamer spotlight for the month of May is twitch.tv/The Salzer Effect. You've heard us talk about him for the last month. And while this is the last week of him being the streamer spotlight, we want you to continue to support him and his Twitch channel. Again, that is twitch.tv/The Salzer Effect.
The Adam Salzer?
Yep.
It is Adam Salzer.
Oh, he's like a New England wrestling person, yeah.
He's very prominent in our Discord channel. Yeah, big Twitch guy.
He's awesome. Great guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, John, let's talk about GMP 64.
Oh, GMP 64.
Episode 17 came out. And last week, actually yesterday, was No Mercy.
That's right. And guess what? If you're a Patreon subscriber, you can go back and rewatch that show anytime after it goes away on Twitch. But, oh man, what an event we had. If you're not on board with GMP 64, you should get on board right now. And you can find these on youtube.com/GameWorks Podcast. The whole library is there. The whole season, we'll say, so far. And speaking of YouTube, we are currently at 285 subscribers, and when we hit 400, we are going to drop the video game history of the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, Hawk, and Animal. So if you
every single appearance, every recolor and sprite and 3D model of Animal and Hawk as either the Legion of Doom or the Road Warriors.
I love these episodes because I make these beautiful show notes and you just read them, but it's fine because now the Patreon subscribers will see all the notes.
Hey, let me guys, you're up to 286 right now. I thought I was subscribed. I want to see it.
Oh,
I want to see
almost
that Road
there.
Warriors episode.
Make sure to follow from your CPA Wrestles account and your personal Nick account. Now, John, we are approaching some big news in gaming coming up, but let's talk about a little fine-tuned, sift through the big... I don't know what I was going to say. Let's go through the big pile and fine-tune it You give us the little nuggets of wisdom in this week's gaming news.
I am not a nugget. All right, let's go.
You are not a nugget. Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at VGFgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style.
WWE Undefeated is building an impressive roster with a mix of legends like Macho Man Randy Savage and Andre the Giant and current superstars like Roman Reigns and Kofi Kingston. Now they're adding a new superstar to the mix, and it's none other than the rated R superstar, Edge. Edge will become a playable character in WWE Undefeated this Friday. For those unfamiliar, WWE Undefeated is a new mobile game that features superstars going head-to-head on iOS and Android and is available now. Following last year's release of Marvel's Avengers, it appears that Square Enix is currently developing a game based on Guardians of the Galaxy. In a new episode of Game Mess, host Jeff Grubb was unequivocal in stating that the game is currently in the works from the publisher. Grubb went on to say that he isn't sure whether or not the game will be officially revealed at E3 next month, but he's hoping that it might be part of the company's showcase. And those are all the nuggets we have today. Check back next week.
So you are a nugget.
Okay, so to start off, Undefeated is awesome. I've played it, but forget that. Marvel's Avengers, I haven't dabbled into because I haven't heard good things. However, I love the Avengers, and I'd love to give this game a shot. Do we think it's worth it? Do we think Guardians of the Galaxy will be any good? What are we thinking here?
So I've played the Marvel Avengers game, and currently, right now, on Steam, you can get it on sale for $24.
All right, not bad. I guess that's the route I would go.
You can get the deluxe edition for like $35. I think that if you have PlayStation Now, or any kind of service that it's included in, or you find it on sale, it's a worthwhile play. This game, and this is going to be a very poor analogy. This game kind of had a 2K20 Cyberpunk start, and it kind of fell flat because of it. It was a very, very buggy game when it first came out, but they've since fixed it. They've announced a lot of DLC content, and it's awesome. The current content that's out is wild. It focuses around Hawkeye, and the new set that's coming out is about Black Panther and Wakanda.
Cool. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I think
it's worth it. If you can find it on sale, it's worth the play.
All right, but that's the gaming news. Are we ready for our favorite part of this episode, the question of the week?
Let's do it. And we got CPA to give his answer this week too.
Hey yo, Game Marks. You know who I am, and I'm here to tell you about our pro wrestling tees and TeePublic stores. Now let me tell you something, Game Marks. Not only do we have the most radical shirts over at Pro Wrestling Tees, we also have a TeePublic store with even more designs, dude. So head on over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod and TeePublic.com/user/GameMarksPod, because when you're GMP for life.
All right, John, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I'm a really big fan of that new shirt that we released on ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod. If you didn't know, we are big in Japan apparently, and
well, George, here's the thing: if you're listening in the early morning of Memorial Day on Monday, you could actually still get this brand new shirt along with all of our other shirts for 20% off on Pro Wrestling Tees using code MEMORIAL.
And do you know where else that you can go and use that code?
ProWrestlingTees.com/Johnny Clash.
And
Nick, say it.
ProWrestlingTees.com/CPA wrestles.
There you go. All right.
Never changed.
Ah.
I never changed.
All right, so the question of the week is a weekly segment where we go back and forth. And no, it's not. The question of the week is a weekly segment where you submit a question. And if we pick your question, you get a Game Marks Pod prize pack. Last week, the question was, if you were to invest in 3 sealed wrestling games for long-term value, which ones would you choose?
Oh,
John, you want to take us through these answers?
Okay, yeah, because we got answers on social media. I also threw this in the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast Patreon Facebook group, and I knew that would spark a huge comment section, and it did, so I got some of those. Not even a debate. Honestly, most people agreed on like the same ones, which close to what we said. So Purple Best Wishes guy says Royal Rumble for SNES, No Mercy and Revenge for N64. Right along kind of what we said. Now, Ringy542 says No Mercy and SmackDown Here Comes the Pain and WWE 13. Interesting.
Which we kind of honorably mentioned.
Yeah. Now, Armbar, the 1004th hold, says Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. See, I was thinking those two. WCW Backstage Assault, assuming it's the gray cartridge. And SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, of course.
We know that's number 1 on Nick's list.
All right. Now, John Fiorio, big major mark, says Pro Wrestling, No Mercy USA 1, and Micro League Wrestling. If I was going to do it, I need to be in an actual box. If I was going to do it, it would need to be an actual boxed game. Value be damned, I'm not grading a sealed DVD case. I agree with that as well. Now, Micro League Wrestling, another one we mentioned, it was the first wrestling game, really.
Yeah.
Other than first licensed WWF game, I guess we should say.
Yep.
Honorable mention of Rage in the Cage because Sega CD cases explode when you look at them, so having a graded copy would be impressive. Mark Bitters says if we're just talking investment only and keeping nostalgia out of it, he doesn't know if he could come up with 3, but he says Here Comes the Pain, Revenge or No Mercy, and the only one he thinks is guaranteed a lock is WWF WrestleMania for the NES. All pretty much on the same wavelength, pretty much all with what we said, so I mean, if you're looking to invest in video games at this time, here's your list.
Yeah. Now CPA.
Yeah.
You're going to invest in 3. You're going to pick 3 games right now that you think will have long-term value. What are your 3 picks?
So I'm looking at this from kind of a weird, at least in the brief time that I worked in the collectibles industry, I'm looking at it from that level where I'm looking at it from a game that wasn't crazy distributed on like a high level. So I'm going the TNA Impact game.
Oh,
okay.
I'm going, I guess I would have to go the WrestleMania game for NES just because it's reasonably old and I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of value to that. Just because of like the scarcity of people who still have it laying around. And I guess a third one, like I want to go with like No Mercy or Revenge or something like that. But yeah, I'll go with Revenge. Revenge.
All
just because
I like it.
I like it.
And it kind of goes against my initial point of scarcity and stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like that would be a good game, worthwhile in the box or like sealed.
So this week's question of the week comes from The Turnbuckle on Instagram. And they ask, what wrestling game has the best selection of arenas? So this is actually a situation where I think the AKI THQ series of games are at a fault.
Yeah? I mean, I was going with No Mercy because we not only do we play it every week, but they pretty much spot on got the Backlash stage with the swinging claws, and they got everything pretty close to what it is.
Yeah, but I feel like...
And then you have the 5 backstage areas that are all interactive. I mean, I guess you could go Here Comes the Pain or like just bring it how... We mentioned how it actually looks more like an actual arena in Just Bring It Finally, and how everything looks more legit to what you see on TV. But, I mean, when it comes to No Mercy, I mean, you got the Ovaltron, you got everything.
I'm going to pop in here with a hot take. I think that the Nitro for PlayStation, not a great game necessarily, but I think the arenas look really cool. Like the Cow Palace is in there, or is that,
They do.
Thunder?
I think Sturgis is in there.
Yeah, like I would rather see that with like No Mercy gameplay.
I mean-
Honorable mention of Mayhem also.
See, I actually think
Oh, because Mayhem is Saturday night too, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm going with that.
See, I'm actually thinking that maybe a modern title wins.
Yeah, but you're going to get the same thing every year. You're going to get... you haven't...
I'm not talking...
Oh, you haven't played 2K19 yet. You said you got it, but you haven't played it yet. The backstage area there...
I just started the story mode.
The backstage area in the story mode is pretty cool, and Nick could speak to this as well. Like, being backstage at an actual WWE event, they took literally the same signage that they used. They took everything, like Vince's office with an arrow. That's exactly the same.
Really? I've never played it, so that's pretty wild.
Yeah, like everything there's catering. It's legit. Yeah.
I don't know. But see, I'm thinking like, okay, hypothetically, what if you had, I don't know, somewhere in the SmackDown versus Raw, like towards the end of that series, where you get a combination of the old and the new school. So like, let's say you went, I don't know, let's say 2010 or 2011. You get NXT, you get I think that one has a retro Nitro arena in it, but then you also have like Raw, SmackDown. I think that one still has ECW, and then you get like the retros of those plus all like the big pay-per-views. Like, I'm not saying I'm saying in terms of the ability to have more options that span generations, where you can get the modern and the classic. Like we're playing in my head, you pick No Mercy because it has the classic arenas, but okay, but why not pick a newer game where you can get modern and the classics and maybe some like other ones? So like, I think my answer is I'm gonna go SmackDown vs. Raw 2011.
Okay. I mean, I can't argue that. But now, as usual, we throw it out to you, the listeners. What wrestling game has the best selection of arenas? Let us know. DM us on social media. Claim your prize, the turnbuckle. You are actually a human, not a turnbuckle, not to be confused. So let us know. George, are you ready? CPA, are you ready? Are we tiptoeing towards that diving board? Are we going head first into ECW Anarchy Rulz?
I'm ready.
Sure are.
Oh my God.
Are you sick of drinking the same old boring coffee with the same old boring flavors? Well, Marks, it's time for you to check out Bones Coffee Company. Bones Coffee isn't just a drink that wakes you up in the morning. It's a full flavor experience. Small batch roasts that are made to order so that every order is guaranteed to be fresh. Unbelievable, all-natural flavors in every single bag. Some of our favorites are blueberry, paradise pie, and chocolate raspberry. But if you're not into the flavored coffees, they've got their single origin series featuring coffee beans from the greatest coffee growing regions in the world. Visit GameMarksPod.com/coffee to place your order and try the world's freshest small batch coffee. All right, so ECW Anarchy Rulz released August 18th, 2000 for the PS1.
Hey, that's my wife's birthday.
Ooh.
Hey, look at that.
Hey, Han.
Released
On your... I'm not going to say what age birthday, ECW Anarchy Rulz came out. Are you impressed?
Are you impressed?
She goes, I don't even know what that is.
See, now when I have to play it on her birthday, you have to play
We're going
this
to play
game
it on
with
your
her.
birthday. All right. You could be Francine. Continue, George.
she's gonna love that. Released for the PlayStation 1 and the Dreamcast, developed by Acclaim, published by Acclaim. And all right, let's address the elephant in the room here. So we've played Warzone. Have we played Attitude yet? No, we have not played Attitude. So this is essentially Attitude with an ECW skin on it, but I'm going to use this term generously, a metric beep ton of content. There are so many different types of matches, and this roster was significantly larger than I thought that it was going to be.
Well, that's the thing. ECW Hardcore Resolution. Hardcore Revolution. It's the TNA version. Hardcore Revolution. People were disappointed with it because it was literally just a reskin of Attitude, and they just threw barbed wire ropes in there. So Acclaim for this one just said, you know what? We're taking all these weird match I cannot speak. All these weird match types that we've never...
Are you shocked by... are you embarrassed by CPA being back on the show?
No. All these match types we've never seen on TV. We're going to make them ridiculous, like a dumpster match. We're going to get into them, and we're just going to throw them all in here.
Now, I actually... When we were doing the research as to how we were going to play this game, Dreamcast was not what I was expecting to be on this list. I was expecting PlayStation 1 and N64, but apparently the N64 version of this game was scrapped because by the time this game comes out, we're moving on to bigger and better things, and the N64 is kind of at the end of its life here.
Which doesn't really make sense to me because N64 still went on for another 2-3 years, but...
And it's today it still goes on. The N64 is the console that right did not die. I mean, not yet. You don't know.
Oh, okay. Now, I think the big difference here is they finally revamped the career mode and made it somewhat, not like what a game is today, but I would say more similar to, like, say, the first SmackDown games rather than Attitude, where it's just a ranking system. You're actually getting, like, the show... You're getting the town, the city. You're going to go for this title, but then you're going to go for the next title after that. And we're going to dive into that a little bit more later, but this was the last game that was made for ECW before, the big purchase by WWE. And Acclaim went on only a year later in 2001 to start the Legends of Wrestling series. Now, we don't see ECW in a video game until the SmackDown vs. Raw series in 2008 to 2010. And can we even call that ECW?
I mean, Matt might have some choice words for you if you...
Oof. All right, sure.
But, all right, so let's break this down here because a little later, we're gonna have a very long conversation about Clash at the Feast. But let's talk about the gameplay here. So we all played it. We all did a series of matches. Nick, CPA, why don't you kick us off here? What was your feelings on this game so far? Initial reaction, re-picking up the game after I don't know how long it's been since you've played.
So, as is custom when I play the games with you guys, when I'm using a keyboard, it's like night and day. As far as like familiarity, because like if I was able to pick up a PlayStation remote, controller and play this game, it would be, I still play GTA 3 like once a week at least, so I'm still like at least kind of have some muscle memory of a PlayStation controller. That being said, I remember we first turned it on, I was like, yeah, I remember like there were like really cool like moves in this game that they didn't have in like Attitude or like Hardcore Revolution, and then very quickly I realized no, they didn't. I just gaslighted myself to thinking that this was this advanced game when it wasn't.
You know what though? They did add more moves, but it was harder to hit like your low and your medium moves when your finisher was like right circle.
Literally, like considering how hard it was to do a special move in Warzone, or it was like up, down, down, triangle, square, do a backflip, and
spin
then
around,
stunner. Yeah.
Now I have a question. Then we may have to have you. I mean, obviously you're going to come back on because we love you. But the next time that you come on, do you have a PC or a Mac?
A PC.
Oh, well, if you have a PlayStation 3 controller, I can make it so that it works with your computer, and then you can play with your PlayStation controller on the computer.
Hopefully next time we record, we could just do it at cap, so I don't have to look at a computer screen ever again.
Also that, but then I can also make it so that you can play literally any game on your computer.
Sure.
All right, so let's go through these actual matches here because we have our exhibition mode, which is our classic. And the matches that return from ECW Hardcore Revolution are the typical one-on-one, the death match, the last man standing, cage match, street fight, barbed wire, and now the new matches. You have a 1-on-2 handicap match, a 1-on-3 handicap match, a versus 4-way dance, a team rumble, which is a stable match, and that is just from the previous game renamed, and that was also very prominent in Attitude. Now, here's one where you scrolled past before and you were like, what is a hate match? I hate it. It's called a hate match. It's a match where player 1 must face 12 opponents. It begins with a 1-on-1 against 3, like a 4-way dance, and once someone's defeated, someone else runs in. And obviously, if someone defeats you, they are crowned the winner of this match. It's, I guess a version of the Slobber Knocker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we also have a tag team tournament, which is pretty self-explanatory.
Now, I don't even know where to start with this. So
we didn't even get to the good ones yet.
I know, but just like the hate match one, just such a ridiculous name for a match. I don't think you would ever find a name like that.
Have you ever watched ECW?
No, I know, but I'm saying I think I'm also looking at it from like today's games. Like you would never find something called a hate match in a wrestling game today. But like also it doesn't really, I think I was more thrown off by it because like it doesn't really tell you what it is. Like to me, a hate match sounds like it would be like an Iron Man match or an I Quit match or something.
Yeah. I don't know. Not a good choice. But we also have, in your menu, you have your career mode, your tournament, your create mode, where you could create your own ECW superstar, which is basically a copy and paste from the last one. Basically a copy and paste of Attitude. You're not making, you're not making the most intricate of wrestlers here. Now, there's also a bio mode where you could view all of the costumes for the character, and you could check out the titles that you have won in your career mode or belt tour mode, which we'll get to. And also, you could hear the theme music, which we'll also get to later because obviously this is ECW, which they're the kings of unlicensed music, so you're not going to get it all in this game.
We talked about the basic matches. Nick, do you want to take us through some of these match options here? Because you laid the groundwork for us here on Clash at the Feast, where you picked the match that we had.
Okay, so the match options are, or at least some of them, are a dumpster match, which I have no recollection of, but a dumpster is literally like static against one side of the ring, and you have to throw the guy over the top rope into the dumpster. There's a table match where you don't necessarily have to break the table in order to win it, but you could just kind of like
just there,
walk into it, as it were. The Rage in the Cage match, which essentially looks like the Lion's Den match of SummerSlam 1998 fame, where it looks like you're wrestling on a big dirt canvas thing. But you
the
can't,
whole arena is just dirt and cage.
Yeah, you can't.
But has that ever been? Has that ever been on like in a WWF/E game? Have they ever done the Lion's Den?
I
don't
know.
Not as far as I know. Someone could correct us.
Look at ECW ahead of the curve.
I mean, they kind of had to.
There's the Backlot Brawl, which is just in the truck bay in the back of the arena. There's the Brimstone match, which is, I guess, their take on an Inferno match. Unlike an Inferno match, however, it's basically just a moat of lava outside of the ring, and then you throw the guy into it, and he screams, and he gets burned alive.
Yes.
And the first time I played this game, I picked the Brimstone match. I think I played as, like, Masato Tanaka. No, unfortunately, NYWC New York indie legend Brimstone is not in this game.
Shucks.
Or maybe he is. Who knows? You ask him; he'll tell you. The first time I played this, I think I played as Masato Tanaka against like Steve Corino, and I thought that the guy was just like not in the game anymore because he literally dies. Like he gets engulfed in flames.
They just like explode, right? And they're gone.
So where do you go from there? Yeah,
yeah.
Like where do you go from there? You're gone.
Hey, at least they made it interesting, you know? They were like, we needed to get rid of the trash that was Hardcore Revolution, which, I mean, I still liked. And we're going to put this these stupid long matches in here, and they revamped some stuff, but I think making the matches a little quicker would have went such a long way.
Yeah, I mean, but the only problem I can think of with the Brimstone match is just
the only problem.
I mean, there's just the drone of the like the torches or the coals or whatever through the whole match. You just you don't hear anything else. It even it drones out the crowd sound.
Yeah, well, lava's loud, I guess. Well, yeah. All right, so these career modes.
A new shirt.
These career modes you got. So each show is advertised as being in a different city, and the only difference depends on what show is scheduled, whether you're in the Elks Lodge or it's a house show. And you start with the ECW TV title, and they're ranked matches, and typically, like Attitude and Warzone, you climb the rankings to win. If you lose, you drop a few spots. After you're the ECW champion and you defend the title 5 times, you move on to ECW Heavyweight Championship contention. So then after that, you just keep defending the title, and that's really your career mode. Not much of a difference, but I think adding the different shows in the city, they were on the right track. It just didn't hit, but something cool they added was a stable career where you take the control of 4 different characters in a stable and you pick each character and which match they'll be in. So you could do a tag team, you could do singles. Kind of cool. Kind of here to make your own stable because it's not like triple threats in this game or anything.
Mm-hmm. I would say, but it's interesting. So I mean, this isn't I don't know, it's like a medium-sized roster. It's big.
Pretty good.
But, you can make some interesting, new pairings here.
Yeah, and they also added Belt Tour mode, which is basically just a bunch of King of the Ring style tournaments for the different championships. So you have TV, heavyweight, tag team, and then the new Tough Man belt title, which is handicap matches.
Now, this is always my favorite spot to get the guests to talk about. Mm-hmm. So I think it's time for us to hop into that giant, lovely roster. But before we do that, let's hear a little word from our sponsors.
We're back.
Great.
All right, CPA, take us through this roster for ECW Anarchy Rulz.
So this is a roster built for a king. We got starting from the top in, this is alphabetical order by last name.
Oh, yeah.
We have friend of the show, Bill Alfonso. We have Amish Roadkill, Angel of the Baldies, Beautiful Billy, otherwise known as Bilvis Wesley. We got friend of the show, Balls Mahoney, Big Sal E. Graziano, C.W. Anderson, Chris Chetty, Steve Carino, Just Incredible, Cyrus, otherwise known as Don Callis, Dawn Marie, Tony DeVito, Danny Doring, Tommy Dreamer, yes, Electra, John Finnegan, Francine, Joel Gertner, Little Guido, otherwise known as Nunzio, for those a little more familiar with that, Paul Heyman, Jason, Jazz, Judge Jeff Jones, who is allegedly the drug runner of ECW, Jerry Lynn, Kid Cash, Louis Dangerously, former owner of Old Time Wrestling Jim Molyneux, New Jack, R.I.P., Nova, Rhino, Dusty Rhodes, Rob Van Dam, Super Crazy, Simon Diamond, Sandman, Spike Dudley, Lance Storm, Joey Styles, Tajiri, Masato Tanaka, Legend the Prodigy, I can't state legend enough, Jack Victory, and recently retired Mikey Whipwreck.
All right, and just like the other games, you also have jobbers. So once you're on the roster select screen, if you press over to the right, you will get the jobbers list, and it's usually a mix of the staff in ECW and Acclaim, which when we got to Thunder and Nitro, I aired my grievances about putting the developers in this game when it's just come on, who are you that you have to be in this game? But they also all appear randomly as opponents in the early stages of career mode. So when you're working those house shows, working your way up to the ECW roster, you're messing with these jobbers. Now, I think one guy who's been in Warzone, Attitude, and the 2 ECW games is Trainer. He's been in all of them. Now, everyone else other than Trainer needs to be unlocked through gameplay, so once you play them, you will unlock them. And most of them were actually featured in Hardcore Revolution and Attitude as well.
I gotta say, I don't know if it's just because we've played 2 or 3 out of the 4 of the Acclaim series of wrestling, or maybe it's just because this game had so much stuff in it. This felt expansive, if that's like the right word. Like this, it didn't feel like an Acclaimed game because it had so many wrestlers, and it had so many different kind of match types, and there was like an actual career mode. Like, I don't know, it's different kind of experience here. But speaking of experience, your matches have to happen somewhere, and we all know that the crowds in the arena play a huge part. So your arenas for ECW Anarchy Rulz are the House Stadium, the Brick Stadium, the Elks Lodge, the ECW Stadium, and the Backlot.
Now, this is the first time we're seeing the backlot in any of these games, and it's basically just a large backlot that has concrete surrounded by fence and bricks, and there's no ring. You also don't hear the announcers. It's just kind of like ambient outdoor noises, and you can still jump off of things, which is cool, like garbage cans and whatever's around you, so you could still hit your aerial attacks.
I was saying CPA loved the Elks Lodge arena. He
Flashbacks. See, I like the ECW Stadium, which is like the South Philly ECW arena.
Mm-hmm.
And then a whole conversation about the worst venue that you wrestled at came up, which was a good conversation to have.
Tune in to Clash at the Feast of that. I don't want to bury anyone on the main feed. I don't want to bury the New Bedford, Massachusetts locals.
All right, so the music in this game. ECW is known for, I guess, stealing music, and they used a lot of copyrighted music throughout their pay-per-views and just their whole existence. Anyway, Paul Heyman didn't care. The guy challenged TNN, said, take us off the air. So
his parents were lawyers. What does he care?
Now, this is Extreme, the ECW song that everybody knows. It's Extreme. It was used as the theme song for Heyman, Joey Styles, Joel Gertner, Cyrus the Virus, and the pure ECW stable and the commentary stable. Now, Holy Man by 1 Minute Silence is the theme song for Dusty Rhodes, Tajiri, and Mikey Whipwreck, and it also plays at the start screen. Debonair by Dope. This was used for Rhino, and this was his actual song in ECW, so I would think Rhino's still the champion now, so that makes sense that they put his song in here.
Yeah.
Now, New Jack. This was a unique track that New Jack performed, and it was commissioned by New Jack himself to use as a legit ECW song on TV, but it never happened. So it was intended to be exclusive to the PlayStation game.
Because they weren't getting...
That's your selling point. Oh, you want to play this on Dreamcast or PlayStation? Well, we got New Jack.
Yeah.
All right, but let's go through this art style here, because while it is similar to Hardcore Revolution, it's actually crazy how much they did update this game. Like, when you compare the two side by side, it does look way better. It's the graphics are a lot smoother. They look less pixely.
I want CPA to take us through
But this is what's crazy.
I want to hear CPA's thoughts first.
This is what's crazy, though. Let me put this into perspective. This game is here on the PlayStation, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think about it in your head if you're not looking at a screen with ECW Anarchy Rulz. The next year, on the next generation of consoles, you are playing Legends of Wrestling, which looks so much different than this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's shit. I mean, when you put it like that...
So, what was your first impression of the game? Because while the characters themselves, the wrestlers, do look great, so like the arena still looks like it was thrown into a
cardboard cutouts.
mosaic mode of Photoshop and have a filter put on it.
I like the face scans. I mean, it might have just been because it was people I never expected to see in a video game ever. But yeah, I don't know. I do like Like it's fun, but it's also like goofy because it's, you know, like in this line of games, like RVD has his ponytail, but it's like super glued to his body.
I mean, Dusty specifically looks so good.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It
saying.
looks
Yeah,
like Dusty.
Yeah, like the face scans are really good. But again, it's, you know, it's what you came to expect from this line of games. But again, it's just weird. It's just unique to see this particular collection of people. Like, I thought like New Jack looked kind of cool. Like Tommy Dreamer looks good, even though he has like weird like salt and pepper hair and it was like 20 years ago. Yeah, I don't know. I did like seeing some new faces on a very familiar platform. Dusty looks pretty goddamn good, though. That being said, to kind of piggyback on what John was saying, like, yeah, Dusty looks pretty cool.
I think we even mentioned this last time that we played, that it's like scary how chunky all of the bodies are, but how unbelievably spot on these face scans are.
Yeah, it's almost like you wish this is what they put into like No Mercy. I mean, I get it. There's limitations on the cartridge. I mean, these games were ported to cartridges as well, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But imagine No Mercy with like these quality face scans. It's an entirely different game.
With arms attached to bodies, yeah.
Yeah, holy crap.
Interesting though. And you know what else is in this game that we don't see much in any of the other Acclaim games? Title belts.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what else is in this game that is, I mean, it's in other Acclaimed games, but I think this game does it really well. Well, sure, but also like I feel like the cages looked better. Like the cages for Rage in the Cage and the cage match, like it looked good.
Not the Rage in the Cage game itself, but the Lions Den match we mentioned. That's called Rage in the Cage. Yeah. Still, like the barbed wire just looked like it was just one piece that you just stretched out across the ring. But hey, you know, beggars can't be choosers. I mean,
here. You're dealing with like, I guess if you're trying to look at it from the close camera angle, it's gonna look like garbage. It's like a flat PNG. It's like the same texture that the crowd's in. It's not meant to be something that's like the main focus of the match, but I guess at the same time it is, because it's a barbed wire match. So like you would expect it to be a little bit better looking. Yeah.
Now here's a question: do you prefer your health bar at the top or the bottom?
I think I like that at the top.
Yeah, I mean it was kind of out of the way in this game. One thing they added, which is cool, they tell you if the move was effective, like its effectiveness. They tell you if it's low, medium, extreme, and those are the moves that put you down for longer. Something about this gameplay that they changed, it was just not consistent with Hardcore Revolution. Like the way, if I would punch you 3 times, your health would go down and then go right back up. You know, you hit one.
That's not what happens in real life.
Come here. Let's try it. Real life Clash of the Feast.
I mean, I'm asking a question as the wrestlers.
No, you don't go 0 to hero in your comeback.
Allegedly. My comeback match though.
But yeah, they did upgrade this game. I think the entrances were a little weak, but they did add like camera pans and through the crowd and stuff, which is cool. But okay, how about the cover of this game?
It's got anybody who's anybody on the cover. Like these are the big names in ECW. If you're going to sell an ECW game, these are the guys that you put on the cover.
Right. So at the same time, you're getting games with The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, Chris Jericho. You're getting Brock Lesnar in 3 years on a cover. But on this game, you got Just Incredible, The Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, and at least you got Rob Van Dam and Rhino on the bottom. Yeah. Who, a year later, pretty much almost everyone on this screen is in the WWF. I guess Sandman took the long road, right?
Yeah,
he sure did.
not family friendly.
At his own pace.
Yeah, well. But all right, take us through the back here.
All right, so this back cover, I don't know. I'm like so torn on this. So it says Anarchy in the USA, which, judging by the way that this font and text is being treated, I'm assuming that this is a reference to Sex Pistols, Anarchy in the UK. It says all new control system. You've got okay. Here's the thing here. That the way that the Brimstone match looks on this back cover, it does not look like that.
Not even close.
No.
Like,
It looks
what is
way cooler here.
Like, that looks like, holy crap. Like, there's an active volcano under the ring or something. Like, that looks like legit you are in danger. And it says, first ever blistering Brimstone match, plus music from Dope and 1 minute silence. Nick, would you like to read the one directly to the right of that one?
The bionic elbow from the American Dream Dusty Rhodes.
Big selling point here.
Is that the correct animation and use of the bionic elbow?
I was going to say, that's not the bionic elbow.
That is an elbow drop. It could be bionic, but it's not the bionic elbow. You also have backlot brawls, all new finishers, and two-man commentary. Never before seen hardcore table matches. And RVD, Tanaka, the Sandman, and over 60 extreme wrestlers. But a little asterisk next to that because...
The jobbers. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if I'm going to want to play as Booger or Candy Girl.
Well, I mean...
Esophagus.
Yeah. I mean, this is all great. This was a good cover. This is a good back cover. It tells you all you need to know. But did you know?
This was Dusty Rhodes' second video game appearance after WCW NWO Revenge, and he does not appear in another wrestling game until SmackDown vs. Raw 2007.
Did you know ECW performed for the E3 crowd courtesy of Acclaim in 2000 alongside Jeremy McGrath, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, Dave Mirra, and Brett Favre?
Did you know ECW Anarchy Rulz starts at around $50 on eBay complete and goes all the way up to $100 factory sealed? Now, we are looking at some pictures from E3
now,
2000.
When Doring was on here for Hardcore Revolution, he told us all about this. So if you want to hear more about the wrestlers' experiences at E3, check out our Hardcore Revolution episode with Danny Doring. And I believe there was an Olsen twins story in there as well. So it's kind of cool to see like the pictures of this event because it looks pretty cool. At first I was thinking this was like the motion capture because they're kind of in front of a green screen with Acclaim logos. And then I'm looking like, but they're doing actual matches. I
guess that's just how they dressed up the area. I mean, this is 2000s, man. Like,
yeah, but Steve Corino holding
neon green backdrops. That's all the rage.
Steve Corino with an ECW title. I think it says Acclaim on it. So I was a
piece of tape on it.
A little confused, but yeah, it's kind of cool that they were there at E3 to promote this game. I don't know sales wise if it paid off, but hey, hopefully Acclaim got their dollars worth.
Man. But listen, me and Nick had a rough day today, so we're gonna sit back and relax, and we're gonna ask you to take us through a little R&R, some ratings and reviews with that nice, calming music.
All right, so we'll start off with Metacritic, the Dreamcast version, a 38 out of 100, the PlayStation, a 43 out of 100. Now, on to the reviews. We have All Game with 1.5 on Dreamcast and a 2 out of 5 stars on the PlayStation. CVG rated the Dreamcast a 2 out of 10. EGM with the Dreamcast a 4 out of 10. Game Informer with a 3 out of 10 on Dreamcast and a 4 out of 10 on PlayStation. Oh, here's a good one. Game Fan rated the Dreamcast version a 0.1%. Not even a full 1, a 0.1%. Game Pro with a 2.5 stars for the PlayStation version. Game Revolution gave the PlayStation version a D. GameSpot with a 6.5 out of 10 on the Dreamcast and a 5.5 out of 10 on the PlayStation. That's our first, I think, Dreamcast winning. IGN rated the PlayStation version a 3.8 out of 10 and OPM US with a 1 star out of 5 for the PlayStation.
And you mocked me when I said that I wanted to play the Dreamcast version.
One company gave that one a better one, which is odd. GameSpot's off a lot. I don't know. I just don't know. I love how like IGN and like some of them just are like, you know what, we're just going to rate the PlayStation version because we know.
All right, John. So we've talked about everyone else's ratings, but I think it's time for you, me, and CPA to offer up our ratings because
It's time to rate the games.
The game!
all right. I will do the honors this week. We are going to start with Johnny Clash.
Oh boy.
ECW Anarchy Rulz. Will you play it forever or future endeavor?
You're fired!
All right, so I had the utmost hope for this game because of all of the match types, and they were fun. And I think they would have been more fun if they were on the Hardcore Revolution like engine, I guess I could say. If they were in Hardcore Revolution, I think those game modes would be more fun. What they added to this game didn't exactly go, I think, the way they wanted it to go. And for that, I'm going to say Future Endeavor because I played it forever, Hardcore Revolution, and I'm just going to stick with that one.
You're fired!
All right. CPA. ECW Anarchy Rulz. Are you going to play it forever or future endeavor?
I'm going to play it forever. I don't know. I'm not a video game snob. If I enjoy it, if I can find something.
What are you implying, sir?
I'm not implying anything. I'm just telling you. I'm just stating a fact. No, I don't know. If I could find something enjoyable about a game, even if it's like objectively not a great game, you know, I can still play it. So I'm gonna play forever on this one, just because I don't know, the Brimstone match is fun. Again, like the different, like I wouldn't play it every day, but you know, like once a month, maybe dust it off. I still have it, so I mean, I could conceivably still play it. But yeah, play it forever.
All right, awesome. Now, George, we turn it to you. Play it forever, future endeavor.
All right, so I future endeavored Hardcore Revolution, saying that it felt too much like Warzone, and I was looking forward to maybe seeing what came in Anarchy Rulz, and I gotta be honest with you, while it still is on that acclaimed engine that I don't love, the game itself and the amount of content in the game surprised me. I'm actually going to play it forever on this one.
Wow, you actually shocked me there. I pre-wrote Future Endeavor on our Excel sheet. All right, cool.
But, all right, John, why don't you take us through our weekly tournament, Clash at the Feast.
All right, to check out this week's episode, and oh boy, you want to check out this week's episode, head on over to youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast. But let's talk about last week's episode, Fire Pro Wrestling Iron Slam 96. You could hear the misery. I think I groaned many times playing this game. We went through the fake Liger. We went through the fake Muda. I'll just say right here, it's a Fire Pro game. I had no chance. Your winner of the debut episode of Season 3 of Clash at the Feast, George Feis.
Undefeated. I'm pointing to my title belt.
Where's my title shot?
Where's my title shot? By the way, John, play my music. So, we've done pretty much everything. I think the only thing that's left to do is talk about what we're playing next week.
Oh,
Hey, CPA, why don't you read this off, and then we'll explain why we're playing this.
Next week on the podcast, not me, but John and George will be.
You can be here if you would like.
Maybe we'll see. I'm still getting. I'm gonna get shell shock from that Clash at the Feast for the next few weeks. Next week on the podcast, John and George will be playing Fire Pro Wrestling X or 10. Is it 10 or X?
I believe it's X.
We're saying
Okay.
X. Now, the reason that we are playing this game is because it is a Megamark Patreon pick from our very own Soups. We also know him as Jamie Patterson. The Megamark from our Patreon picked Fire Pro Wrestling X.
Yeah, normally
Now,
we wouldn't do Fire Pros that close together, so, but be a Megamark. You pick the game.
Yeah. Now, I'm gonna address the elephant, the very sad elephant in the room, Nick. I'm very sorry to hear that Off the Hop Rope has been on hiatus, but I want to let you know that you always have a home here, and
Not Troy, though.
I promise.
okay.
I promise that the next time you're on the show, we're not going to do like a 7-hour Clash at the Feast.
If it was a little earlier in the day, I wouldn't have cared, but I was just like, oh my God.
Me too.
I'm
I'm
so tired. What's going on?
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of tired, George,
Bones
I think
coffee.
we've done Bones Coffee. I think we've
Bones Coffee.
I think we've done everything we could with ECW Anarchy Rulz. Why don't you take us home?
All right, I will do that. But first, CPA, where can everybody find you? Thank you for coming and hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me. You could find me on the internet at CPA Wrestles. My recently revived miraculously over the past 16 months, and no one else decided they were a CPA who wrestles. So I got my handle back. So we're CPA Wrestles all over the internet. You can find me wrestling at places, but if you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and all that stuff, you will find out even faster. So yeah, CPA Wrestles. Thanks for having me again, guys.
Hey, anytime. But that is going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks Podcast. Please check out all of our merchandise at GameMarksPod.com/shop and join us on Patreon, patreon.com/GameMarksPod. It is the best way besides listening to support the podcast, and be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to wherever great podcasts can be found. Again, Nick, CPA, official third host of the show. Thank you again for coming and hanging out.
Thank you.
And thank all of you for coming and listening to this week's show. Johnny Clash, do that thing that you do.
Game over, Mark.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the Clash at the Feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.
What's up, Game Marks? This is Justin Summers from the Wrestling Cheers podcast, and on Wrestling Cheers, we'd like to talk about things going on in the Northeast Ohio independent wrestling scene, mainly absolute intense wrestling out of Cleveland, Ohio. We preview shows, we review shows, and sometimes we even have interviews along the way. These interviews can range from wrestlers to podcasters, and even interviews with fellow fans, finding out how we became fans and what we like about AIW. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wrestling Cheers, and you can also find us wherever you download your podcast, whether it be Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Pandora, and we're at Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. And once again, that's Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially when you're a game mark.